Hey everybody, my name is Tom Tullis. This is the Tomb of 3D Printed Horrors, and we're going to take a look at how to paint forest ground tiles today. This is part of our ongoing Kickstarter, Shadow Grove Forest. There are so many things to paint in this, I can't put everything in a single tutorial. So for this one, we're just going to focus on ground tiles. In a different one, we'll get into the tree trunks and tree tops and such. But for this one, let's just take a look at the ground tiles. All right, to get started, most of this is going to be done with just cheap craft paint, apple barrel, delta, things like that. For the base of the ground tile, I used two colors. And the first is a dark burnt umber, although after I used this, I ended up switching over to just regular burnt umber. It had a little bit richer brown color, and I think it made a better base. But you're going to coat the entire tile with burnt umber. And then once that's done, you're going to use a 50-50 mix of Territorial Beige by Apple Barrel, or there's another color called Rusted Pipe in Ceramicoat. And that works. It's the identical color, but you're going to mix this, just any medium brown like this, light brown, mix it 50-50 with the burnt umber. So here's a ground tile that I painted the burnt umber base on. I've allowed to dry, and now I'm splotching in that 50-50 mix of Territorial Beige and the burnt umber. And I'm just getting about a 50% coverage on this. It doesn't matter where you put it. You just want it nice and random. Once that's dry, you want a dark green. In this case, I'm using Apple Barrel English Ivy. But any really dark green color is going to be great. And again, I'm just splotching this in, maybe 50% coverage, doesn't really matter. Once put that aside, let it dry. The next you need a light green, and this is going to be for the moss. And I'm using Apple Barrel Palm Leaf, but again, any light green, grassy green color is going to look great on this. And I'm just using a very old scraggly brush, and I'm just blotching this in on top of the areas I put the English Ivy on. And I'm letting the ragged bristles kind of do the work here to make it kind of fuzzy and look a little bit more like moss or small short grass growing. And just blotch that in. Let it dry. Next up, I'm going to use that same color that I used for the moss. I'm going to use that for these large, the 5-leaf plants you see here. I'm just going to paint those a flat color. It's the same color we just used. Next up, we're going to paint the fern leaves, and for that, I'm using miniature paint. You can use the cheap craft paint for this. I just had this laying around. This is Leaf Green by Reaper, and I'm going to go in and paint all those palm fronds or whatever they're supposed to be there, and just get all that painted in. The miniature paint for something this detailed flows a little bit better, so you might have a little bit better luck with this. And you use so little of it, it's not going to be expensive to use mini paint on this if you decide to go that route. Next up is going to be painting the small loose leaves that are all scattered on the ground. Any brown and light green color is going to work. It does not matter on this. You've all seen leaves on the ground in the woods. They can be pretty much any color you want them to be. I just, again, had these older Reaper paints laying around that need to get used up, so I'm going to use Desert Stone and Olive Green. And I didn't really go in and do a 50-50 mix. It was probably 2/3 of the brown and 1/3 of the green, simply because the Desert Stone pops a little bit better. There's more contrast with it, but I think it looked a little nicer, so I used a little bit more of that for more of the leaves. Finally, on a lot of these ground tiles, there's going to be stones or rocks and stuff. You want to paint those a dark gray base, and then go in with your Territorial Beige. And what I've done is I've mixed about a 2/3 mix of Territorial Beige to 1/3 gray, and I'm just sponging that in here just randomly, maybe a third or a half of the rock covered, and using these small makeup sponges to get it in the smaller areas, not on the small rocks. Once that has dried, I'm using, this is kind of like a concrete gray, a very light gray. I'm very lightly sponging it on top of the stonework. And that just gives it a really nice weathered stone look. And I really like the way this looks. if it's not light enough, you can put a little white in with it for the very, very highlight. And this is what the finished tile looks like. It's not hard to do. This technique makes it look like you took a lot more time than what you did by using the 2 colors of browns and 2 colors of greens for the ground itself. It really gives it a highly detailed look with just very little effort. So that's it. This is all it takes to make a really stunning, detailed looking ground tile. This doesn't take a lot of effort. If you assembly line these, it goes really, really fast. If you like what you saw here, please consider backing our Kickstarter. It's going to end in a couple of weeks from when this video is posted. A link is in the video description. Thank you for watching.